Hey there, I'm Bill DeYoung with the St. Pete Catalyst. Thanks for joining us tonight for Catalyst Sessions. We have Karla Hartley as our guest. Karla Hartley has been a major player in the Tampa Bay arts community, the theater community, for more than 25 years as an actor, director, stage manager, and production manager, and probably all sorts of other things that we don't even know about. Since 2013, she's been the executive and artistic director at Stageworks Theater, the wonderful Equity House over there in Tampa, across the bay from us, part of the arts community. Welcome, please, Karla Hartley. Are you there? I see me. I don't see Karla. Hey, there you are.
Hi.
The wonders of technology bring us together.
Right.
How are you tonight?
I'm hanging in there. It's been a weird couple of weeks, but we're hanging in.
Let's talk about where Stageworks was on the timeline exactly when this current situation began.
We were heading into tech for a play called 12 Angry Men, which it was meant to open on the 20th of March. For a minute, might be able to keep going because at the time the restrictions from the CDC were 250 people and above should not gather together. But shortly after that, it was changed to 50 people, and we knew at that point that we were not going to be able to keep going safely. We wanted to make sure that the safety of our patrons and actors was our utmost concern. So on the 13th, I think we all, most of the theaters around the Bay Area, all maybe, I forget, decided to go ahead and postpone the season. And it's hard. We have a set there sitting ready and waiting for actors to step on it. And we're hopeful that once the restrictions are lifted, we'll be able to continue with that production.
So what you've got essentially is 12 angry actors going, we really want to do this show, And there was that thing, I want to talk in a minute about the letter you wrote this week, but there was that thing about how, the show must go on. It's a corny old cliche, but when you've put so much into a production, you'll go hell or high water to make it happen. There's no contingency plan, is there, for something like this? You just could not have planned this.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is absolutely unprecedented for us as well as everybody else in the country and the world. We've never postponed an opening before. So it's an unusual situation to be in. We're not quite sure how to act for the first little bit. But it's not only that, and yes, we put a lot of money into the production that, we're sort of sitting there hoping that we'll be able to recoup at some point. But, the sort of emotional energy and the artistic energy that goes into the work that we do is really where it's at for us. And to sort of have that amputated, I guess. It's really weird. It's really weird.
That's that amputation, I suppose, is a correct use of that, because it's sort of like that old feeling that, my leg was taken off in the war. This is not true, by the way, but I mean, it still itches sometimes. It's like, if you're in a play, you're going to wake up in the middle of the night doing your lines. And, if you're in the middle of a run of something, and I know this feeling, it becomes so much of you. Let me ask you about the rest of the season. So we're talking about, my gosh, Anna and the Tropics, and the Putnam County Spelling Bee. I mean, have you had to make the decision now that they're not happening?
Well, it's all on hold for the moment. I'm not prepared to make any official announcements about what the status of all that is. It's difficult. We are looking at a number of different options. We're not able to, a lot of people are talking about live streaming and all of that sort of thing. We're not able to do that. There are a lot of contractual notions from both the people who hold the rights to the play. And,
right.
actors equity and all of that stuff that makes that really sort of impossible, certainly for a theater of our size. So we're knocking around a number of possibilities, and I would expect that you'd hear something more official for them. I know that David ended up canceling his last two productions today, Jobsite Theater.
David at Jobsite, yeah, I saw that, yeah.
So so we're still working on it, working on budgets and things and budget projections. So, which is really hard because you have no idea what's going to happen. But we're still working it out.
Let me be blunt and ask, and you can answer this however you want. What kind of a financial hit potentially can you be taking here? I did talk with David Jenkins about this quite extensively.
Well, I mean, you have to.
I know nobody wants to think worst case scenario, and God knows I don't want to be the grim angel of failure here. But but I think approximately, if this goes on a long time, you're going to lose some dough, right?
Yeah. I mean, we have at the moment about $25,000 into 12 Angry Men. That then we're not any of that money recouped. And then typically speaking, for each stage, for each production, certainly later in the season, where the more accessible titles are in the season, we would typically get 30 some odd $1,000 in ticketing revenue from each production. So we're certainly looking at 100 and some odd $1,000 in losses. That it's gonna be challenging. It's going to be really challenging. So,
is Stageworks independent? Jobsite is part of the Strauss Center. Are you totally independent? Are you connected with St. Pete College or something? What's your deal?
No, we're entirely independent, and that's in addition to ticketing revenue, I still have hard costs that like electricity and various contracts that we have for the copier and all of this other stuff. So, there are hard costs for the organization that add up to, a fairly significant amount of money per month. We're at the, making sure that our people are getting paid, even in the absence of revenue. So it's a lot. So you figure if we don't finish out the season and we get no more income at all, probably, $150,000. And we also rent the facility a lot, and then we get a lot of revenue from rentals. We have a couple of churches that use the space. So while we're not able to get that money in either. So it's it's going to be difficult.
This is the Catalyst Sessions. We're talking with Karla Hartley, who is the executive and artistic director of Stageworks Theater. Hi, Cindy Stovall.
Hi, Cindy.
She's writing. And Karla and I are talking about the immediate future of Stageworks, what it looks like. And I wanted to ask you this. You wrote this impassioned open letter that was published, kind of extolling the virtues and benefits of live theater to society. It was near and dear to my heart. I understand all that. And urging us not to allow, I like what you said, not to allow this to become the new normal. Can you explain what you meant?
What we do as artists is dependent on human interaction. And while you and I are talking over the waves of whatever, it's not the same as having someone in the room next to you trying to do the work that you do. And I think that we've seen over the last X number of years how society is sort of fractured and siloed in ways that keep us apart from one another, whether that be ideological or political or religious or any of those isms that we take on ourselves. And part of what the arts does is bring us all together and put us all in the same room. And one of the great values of live performance is that you're sitting next to someone who is not like you and who you can sit and engage with in conversation.
Yeah.
The we are removed from person to person human communication, the more likely it is that there'll be a rise of narcissism and a waning of empathy. And I think empathy is really where the arts lands in terms of how we can be helpful to move forward through this crisis, and to be sure that it's not me against you, but it's us against something. So
we're us against it, I suppose.
Yeah, us against it, whatever it is, right?
Well, theater, that's beautifully said. A shared experience, mm-hmm. and through kind of an unreality, we go there together. We all come out changed on the other end. That's what I like about arts. You're affected by something, and it makes you different. It's nice to have that as a shared experience. It's very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not even just the performative element of it, but we do a lot of teaching in the community, bringing arts to young people who don't have access to it. And we're losing that as well, just based on the fact that we can't gather together in groups of more than 10 people. So it's my fear is that people become accustomed to being sort of holed up in their houses and watching Netflix all day, when they could be out, engaging in experiences that make a difference, rather than something that they can look at that they could repeat over and over again in the same exact way that they see it the first time that they see it. One of the great about theater is that you can come to see a play on opening night and then come to see the same play on closing night, and it's the same. It's a different experience. Not going to it'll be roughly the same, but it's not going to be the same exact experience. So
it's an organism. It's again, it sounds like a cliche, but it's like a living, breathing thing. One of the things that I've been thinking about, and I was talking with Matthew McGee about this very thing, is that in the healing process, as we come out of this, God knows when it happens, the arts are going to be even more important, to remind us of the beauty and the humanity and the empathy that is, and so maybe what you're saying won't happen. That I'm not staying on my couch. First thing I'm doing is coming to Stageworks to see 12 Angry Men, which I was in once. Let's talk about that up in Savannah.
Once upon a time.
But well, the arts are, it's such a valuable part of life. And I suspect that we're going to see that, maybe people who haven't thought about it so much, like, God, I can't believe I haven't gone to a concert in however long it's been. I haven't seen a live play. God, it feels good. People take it for granted sometimes.
Yeah, and it should really feel like the clouds are open and the sun is shining. And that's what the arts are. They shine a light on society and a light on humanity that is important for all of us to see. I really believe in the notion of the artist as historian. Mm-hmm. I think everything that we know about the world around us and ancient civilization, we know because somebody wrote a play about it, somebody painted a painting about it, somebody wrote a story. And now, the Institute sort of took that sort of live action footage that can serve as a historical notion in the future. So, and I think that as artists sort of engaged in what's happening right now in the darkness of what this is, it'll serve as a record for generations to come about what this time was like, and how we were able to move through it with generosity and a spirit of willfulness that will be helpful to everybody as we come to the other side of it.
The other side, from your mouth to God's ear. I'm gonna change tack here for a second. Sure. You talked in your letter about doing like Stageworks staycations, like checking in with staff members. Like, here I am at home playing with my cats, or are you gonna you're thinking about ways to, like you say, you can't do full shows, or are you working on methods to stay in touch?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've asked a number of performers with whom I'm familiar and who've worked with us before to send in a self-tape that we'll share on Facebook and Instagram, those sorts of things. Allison Burns sort of kicked it out of the park with her. She made a whole music video of
Oh, that was great.
of something, which is really
Corona.
kind of fun. She's
That was
working on
great.
another one.
Yeah.
So, and I'm hopeful that we'll do some play readings, some new plays where we can actually contact the artists and get permission to do it on a live stream. So those sorts of things to keep the arts alive and in people's lives. And I'm not gonna lie, keep Stageworks out there as an entity so that people remember that we exist. And so we're trying to do a lot of different things. I'm gonna have our drumming instructors coming in tomorrow. We're gonna videotape a drumming class, the drumming instruction from him that we're gonna put out. So we're trying in many different ways to figure out how to make sure the arts are still accessible in whatever way that we can. I think that ultimately, sort of a digital medium is dissatisfying.
Well,
but
good seeing you too. But yes, no, I understand that totally. Sure.
No.
Yeah.
It's to be in the same room with the teacher is not the same as being seeing a teacher over Zoom, right? Which has also been weird because I teach at the University of Tampa, and I've had to try to figure out how to teach, a cabaret class or my stage management class, and not be in the same room with the singer and the accompanist, and it's very, very weird, and I don't know what to do. But
Katrina Stevenson told me the other day that how do I teach costume design this way? It's very hands-on. There's no hands.
Yeah,
no hands.
Exactly.
Nothing. Yeah.
So it's a new landscape, but I'm hopeful that we won't be in it for too long, and we can all return to our regularly scheduled programs as soon as possible. Being mindful that we all want to stay healthy and we want our audiences to be healthy. So we're trying to make sure that we are keeping out there, keeping people entertained, even if it's just for a 15-second knock-knock joke. Because we did a whole series of knock-knock jokes on the set of 12 Angry Men, finding different ways to use the set of 12 Angry Men that don't involve 12 actors on stage with us. But so those, we'll sort of let those out little by little over the next couple of weeks and see how we can have a little fun while we're all trapped in our homes.
Well, what you said was a big part of why we're doing this at the Catalyst, is because it just occurred to us that, hey, well, we're all still here. The arts community is still here. We're just in little freaky, weird little pockets now. We're not together in rooms, as you say. Let's try and stay connected. And so it's really good to talk to you. Someone just Robin wrote in and mentioned your direction of Fun Home at American Stage last season, which was it was a phenomenal show. You were directing 12 Angry Men too, right?
No, actually, Rosemary Orlando was directing 12 Angry Men.
Oh, okay. So
I don't typically direct in the spring because there's so many grant deadlines and stuff like that.
Busy life.
At the time. I don't want to I tend to really silo when I'm directing something, so I work on it almost to the exclusion of other things. No, but Rosemary was doing a great job, and we were about to open that play, and hopefully we still will.
Well, what I was going to say is part of that you were in Morningside at Stageworks. Which was a hoot and a holler, as they say. And Joe, if you're there, I was hoping you could bring up a photograph to lead into something that I wanted to ask Karla. If Joe Hamilton, there he is. Can you see that photo?
That's 5 lesbians. Well, that's
five lesbians eating a quiche. That's Karla there on the far right there. So that was a great show, by the way. So what I wanted to ask you, in closing today, is the chicken or the egg question. I mean, you're a director and an actor. What do you like better?
Oh, I'm a control freak, so I much prefer to direct a play.
And honest.
I had a really lovely time with Morningside, and I had fun with 5 lesbians. I have a attention span that I might like. So I'm good to sort of do a thing for 3 weeks and let it open and let it fly and do its own live its own life. It was really
Yeah.
strange for me to stick with a play for the next 3 weeks, but I had a great time, and I enjoy acting. What I think is most valuable about it for me is that I need to be reminded every now and then what I ask actors to do. And the only way I can really remind myself of that is to step in and do it myself. I ask actors to do really hard things. I ask them to sort of open their chest and show the world their heart. And it's good for me to be reminded of what exactly the toll is of that, the emotional energy, the spiritual
Oh, yeah.
energy of all
Oh,
that.
sure.
So that I can be more mindful as I ask actors to do things that what exactly it is that I'm asking. So that's why I like to do it every now and then. I also have a super great time with those ladies on stage and in both of those productions, and
Morningside
it
was
was
so
fun. I hope it's not the last performance on the stage, but
well.
I will say.
I'm sure it's not. There's one thing that I was going to ask, and it's
I
totally gone
know.
out of my head. No, it had to do with the Hispanic Initiative, because I was
Uh-huh.
Anna in the Tropics, which won the Pulitzer Prize, is so brilliant, and you were going to
Yeah.
do it in English, the same cast in English and in Spanish, and
Right.
and because we have a few minutes left, can you just describe the Hispanic Initiative, because that it's so
Sure.
important what you do at Stageworks.
Yeah, I mean, 3 years ago, I want to say, it started to really land on my heart that we're coming up on, I think, 30% of our population is Latin descent,
Yeah,
and we wanted to make sure that we weren't leaving that segment of our community out. So we decided to do the Hispanic Initiative, which was multi-faced, but the most prominent face of it is to do these plays both in English and in Spanish.
yeah.
Started off with In the Time of the Butterflies, and we
Oh,
did
yeah, right.
five performances in Spanish. And I'll be fair and honest and say I had no idea how it was going to go. I just
Mm.
really didn't know. But
How
and
did it go?
oh, it went like crazy. Like
Cool.
it was really great.
So you
We
got
had
a Spanish-speaking
by
audience
the
to come out
time
and
we
see it.
finished that
Yeah,
run, the Spanish language. Absolutely. By the time we finished that run, the four of the five performances in Spanish had sold clean, which was terrific for us to know that people really wanted the programming.
yeah.
So last year we did sort of a play that was inherently bilingual, which was four guys named Jose and una mujer named
Hmm.
Maria, a musical. And this was Anna in the Tropics, which is a Florida playwright. It's about Ybor City, so it's really close to us in terms of where our facility is to Ybor City. And we also initiated a middle school program called Hispanic American Greats that did sort of short biographical monologues of prominent Hispanic Americans in history. And this upcoming season, hopefully, um, and finances willing, we're gonna start a short, like a Saturday morning, um, short plays for young audiences, in Spanish.
That's
Um,
great. No one
so
else is
that
doing this, are they?
oh,
That's fantastic.
no, I mean, a couple of theaters in Florida have begun to do that. I know Mad Cow was doing some readings in Spanish, but we were doing it first.
But no one else in the Tampa Bay area, I'm saying, because, as you say, 30% of the
Oh,
population
for sure.
in Tampa and Hillsborough, there's a
Right.
lot of Spanish-speaking people over there. It's a beautiful
Well,
idea.
and Spanish Lyric Theater has been around for a long, long time, and
Yeah,
they
that's right.
does some great work
That's
as
right.
well. But they're focused mostly on musicals, and
Yeah.
zarzuelas and stuff like that. So we wanted to make sure that we were doing legit theater in Spanish, so that we could offer that to a large segment of our community that we have all been sort of missing.
Well, I think that's going to about do it for today. Karla, it's so great to see you and to talk to you again, and to check in. Keep us posted. And we'll look forward to,
Thanks. We
what's
will.
coming next.
Yep, for sure. Thanks very much, Bill. I appreciate your
Yeah,
time.
absolutely. So I'm Bill DeYoung, and this has been the Catalyst Sessions. And I will remind you, as I try to always do, to check out St. Pete Catalyst, which is stpetecatalyst.com, which is an online news platform that you can get absolutely free, covering all kinds of Bay Area news between business and community and the arts. And of course, now at the moment, it's pretty much all about, what's going on now. But we are here for you, and we'll be here tomorrow at 7:00 with singer-songwriter Cassandra Rose, by the way, who's going to do a couple songs for us. So I'm Bill DeYoung, and it's been great, and we will see you Tuesday.